In July 2012, I traveled to Russia and took a riverboat cruise from Moscow to St. Petersburg. Along the way, I purchased several souvenirs. Join me now as we take a look at some of the places where I went and what I bought there. To start our journey to St. Petersburg, the ship I was on left Moscow on the Moscow Canal through a series of locks built by prisoners from Stalin's Gulag system in the early 1930s. Once on the Volga River, our first stop was at the town of Uglitch, with its beautiful church, St. Demetrius on the Blood, built on the spot where 10-year-old Prince Dmitri, the son of Ivan the Terrible, was found stabbed to death in 1591. At an open market full of stalls with a wide range of goods, I purchased several items. Seeing these ladies in their traditional costumes inspired me to purchase this wooden doll, all decked out in old-fashioned wear. Of course, I could not come to Russia and not buy a Matryoshka, the famous Russian nesting dolls. Our tour guide on this trip in Russia told us that you can rest assured that these stacking dolls are legitimate Russian items, as they are so hard and fiddly to make and not of such high value that it is not worth the bother of a faker to make fake ones to sell. I also purchased the spinning cathedral dome music box featured in the opening of this video in Uglitch. Also, I made some purchases of a political and military nature in Uglitch, such as this liquor flask with the sword and shield emblem of the KGB upon it, the dreaded secret police of the Soviet era. In Russia, there was no shortage of statues of Vladimir Lenin, the first communist premier of the Soviet Union. So I took the opportunity to purchase a small Lenin bust from the Uglitch market. I also purchased a Soviet Red Army Guards badge, worn by the elite guard units of the Red Army, starting in World War II and continuing to the present day. In 1978 or 79, during the Brezhnev era, and during a very tense time in the Cold War, my Aunt Agnes Fleming paid a visit to Moscow in the USSR. At a Biorska store set up for Western tourists and those with Western currency to spend, she purchased this lacquerware box. Aunt Agnes said it was a long, drawn-out affair to make her purchases. You stood in a long line to view what was available to buy and get a ticket for your selection. You then stood in another long line to pay and get a receipt. And, you guessed it, it was still a third long line to finally get the item you purchased. Luckily, this system was no longer in place when I visited Russia in 2012, and I could select, purchase, and get my keepsakes all in one quick stop. As a memento of her adventure in Soviet shopping, Aunt Agnes kept the receipt for her lacquer box and a rather large sugar cube from the hotel in Moscow where she was staying, and kept both in the box. Our next stop was Yaroslav, where my group was taken to an art gallery where lacquer boxes were for sale. Before coming here, I thought these boxes were made of wood, when in actuality they are paper mache, which makes them stand up to the changes in humidity and heat found in homes in northern climates. We were told the best way to know your Russian lacquer box is a fake is if it is made of wood and not paper mache. These boxes were pretty pricey, and a small one, not much bigger than my thumb, was priced at $60 US, and some of the larger ones were priced over $1,000 US. From the gift shop on the ship, I purchased this lacquer box that shows a scene of the Kremlin. And in Yaroslav, these two boxes with folk scenes on them, one of which is in the shape of a turtle. These three boxes make nice companions to Aunt Agnes's box. We will now take a look at Kakloma style woodware with its red and gold flower and strawberry patterns on a dark red background. Originating in the 17th century, Kakloma is a traditional Russian craft from the Nizhny Novgorod area of Russia. Starting with a base of gold paint, the red and black strawberry and flower pattern is painted on top. The paint is then hardened in a kiln at high temperatures, giving a metallic look to the items. Aunt Agnes bought this large Kakloma container during her late 1970s trip to Russia, and I bought the two smaller ones on my Russian adventure. My ship made a stop at the island of Kushi in the middle of Lake Onaga in northern Russia. The island is 3.5 miles long and a half-mile wide and is famous for two things: poisonous vipers and beautiful wooden churches. I avoided the snakes by not romping through the tall grass, and the churches are wonderful. The most famous church on the island of Kushi is the Church of the Transfiguration, built during the reign of Peter the Great in 1713 to 14. The church is of all wood construction and features 30 onion domes. The most amazing thing is that the church was built entirely without nails. On Kushi, I purchased this decorative egg to go with a second egg I purchased in the ship's gift shop. The eggs open out to show lovely ornaments inside in the style of the famous Fabergé eggs of the Russian Tsars. The red egg has an image of the bronze horseman, the famous equestrian statue of Peter the Great in St. Petersburg, and opens up to show a replica of the Cathedral of Christ the Savior in Moscow. The blue egg opens up to display a second brown egg with an image of Jesus upon it. Finally, I purchased this harpsichord with an image of a horse-drawn wagon upon it during my Russian vacation. And that, folks, is the story of my Russian art collection. Time to put everything away and close up the curio cabinet. Well, folks, that's it for this examination of Russian items in my collection. I hope it has been of some interest to you. If it was, please hit the like button. And if you have not already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. Till next time, keep safe and well, and thank you for watching.